you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Douglas School Committee to order on September 17th at 6:30 p.m. I'd like to read the Douglas Public Schools mission statement. The Douglas Public School offers diverse learning experiences that meet the academic, social, physical, and emotional needs of all of our students. We provide a safe, supportive, and challenging learning environment in which students may achieve academic success and personal growth. Decisions are made in the best interest of our students. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Do we have any student representatives this
We
evening?
do. I think it's, first one I put the,
Girls, if you could just come up and introduce yourselves. I unfortunately do not have your little intro sheet. Or if the principals know.
Rob, you want to introduce?
So Lila Kuchar is going to present for us.
All right.
Welcome, Miley. Thank you so much for coming up. I apologize.
Hello everyone, my name is Lila Kuchar and I am a junior here at DHS. I would like to say I am pretty involved with our school community. I am a junior class officer and represent my grade at student council meetings. I also am a part of the cheerleading team and have been for multiple years. Aside from that, I do a lot of volunteering in my free time, such as volunteering at my church on Sundays and coaching a youth cheer team. As school has opened back up after the summer, here are some key highlights going on at the high school that I would like to share. Thanks to the efforts of the business office, we have an updated computer lab that allows our engineering students to fully access our computer automated design programs through Project Lead the Way classes. We also had our first MyCap session 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, which is something that we started to do during some advisory periods last year. Personally, in my MyCap session, my group talked about what makes someone employable, a good coworker, and the best ways to communicate with your employer. There was also a club activity fair during the school day last Friday to encourage participation. Our seniors had the opportunity to participate in a college prep session with our counseling staff. They covered the early application process, financial aid, letters of recommendation, and all other processes. Our freshmen also had their class elections this week, and their officers are now elected. They will be advised by Mrs. Malo and Ms. Floria. Also this week, we had picture day at the high school. Some upcoming events in our school include open house / back to school night tomorrow at 5:30. Homecoming next week with golf and volleyball on Friday and soccer all day Saturday. We also have a new co-op for football this year with Oxford. This means the football game this year will be held at Oxford on Friday night. We are also already preparing for a pep rally to support our students for senior games, and our student council is preparing for haunted hallways. Lastly, our college and career fair will be held on the 26th. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much. Anybody here for public comment? Nobody's here for public comment. Moving on to any old business.
We do not have any old business.
Moving on to new business and the superintendent's report, please.
All right, thank you, everyone. I love this meeting where we get to introduce our new staff to the community and to the school committee. So we have a bunch of principals here are going to introduce their staff. We will start with Miss Sosha. Come on up.
I love going first.
What?
Going first.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. You.
All right. I am pleased to introduce 3 staff members tonight. The first is Katie Huff. Katie, give a wave to everybody. Katie is a special education paraprofessional in our intensive instruction classroom. She's a Douglas resident. She attended our Douglas schools and then graduated from BVT in 2024. And last year, she worked as a behavioral technician. So she's already learned the ropes for the 3- and 4-year-olds, and she's been on the floor fishing with them and all kinds of fun things. So she's doing a great job, and we welcome you, and we're happy to have you. Next, we have Jennifer Shepard. There's Jennifer. Stand up so we can see you. She is in a kindergarten paraprofessional role. She's a Douglas resident with 4 children in the Douglas schools. Am I right, Jenny? 4? Yeah. Okay. She has a Bachelor's of Arts degree from Worcester State University. She has experience as a group facilitator at the YMCA Family and Community Play and Learn group, and she owns her own photography business. So welcome, Jenny. She just started, so this is day 3 for her, and she's still smiling, so that's a good thing. All right, and then we have Brianna Serpenen, a special education teacher in the intensive instruction classroom. There's Brianna up front. She will be starting October 6th. She has a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Rhode Island College. She has teaching experience in Burrillville, Rhode Island, Blackstone Millville, and Northbridge. And she just got married.
Congrats.
She's very excited to come to Douglas and work with the little ones, because right now she's with a little older population, so we can't wait for her to get in and get settled, and we're very excited to have you, so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sosha.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Mr. Haynes.
Good evening.
Evening.
First of all, for those new staff members that weren't able to join us tonight, they responded, they appreciated the invitation. Sorry they can't make it tonight, but I wanted to convey that to you all, and we have some really great new staff that I'm super excited about. There is one person that is here tonight, though, that I want to introduce to you all, that I'm very pleased to introduce you, Ms. Erin Kelly, who is actually, I have the good fortune of having her in my office, but then obviously Mr. O'Brien does as well. And she is our new school secretary, and she comes to us originally from Medway, but having spent a lengthy stop of time in Chino, California, Chino Valley, California, where she worked in schools and served in a number of roles. I'll read that while in Chino, she excelled in managing front office operations, coordinating staffing, supporting school leadership, and maintaining accurate and confidential student employee records. And so she has the skills. I will tell you, when I called on references, I could tell it was like almost physically painful for these people to talk about losing Erin, because she's been such a great strength for their office at those schools, and she's come here, stepped right in. I will also say she's a self-proclaimed safety snob, and has really stepped up in terms of helping us with our safety efforts. She really updated all of our materials when we did the recent Alice drill, and got all the teachers all the information that they needed in preparation for that drill, which went extremely well. And she's just a great fit for our school, and so we're happy to have Erin.
I'm very happy to be here.
Welcome.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. O'Brien.
We had one new teacher. She was not able to make it tonight. Her child was sick. Her name is Emily Braille. She's an art teacher and the daughter of Aaron Alcott. So she fits right in and knows Douglas and knows the school. So killed it out.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Ringet.
Hello, hello. Promise to be faster than Cindy tonight. First year at the high school, I'd like to introduce Michelle Paul. She is right there. She is our new school year secretary. She's at our front desk. She's the first face you'll see in the morning, checking in the students, checking in visitors, things like that. She comes from us. Last year she was working at Medway Middle School. Has some good experience. The team in the main office has brought her along, and what I'm being told by them is that she fits in seamlessly and is exactly what they wanted. So makes us all very happy. So
Nice.
thank you, Michelle. Our next person is Megan Pryor. Megan Pryor, we hired as one of our paraprofessionals. She is from Douglas, and technically we took her from the primary school. However, she has fit in very well with us. She does a lot of the work with students in our Project Lead the Way classes, which is a task amongst itself because of what they have to execute and what they have to be able to do. So, welcome, Megan. And finally, I'd like to introduce John Lay. There he is. He is our computer science teacher. He's very experienced. He spent more than 15 years at Silver Lake Regional High School out in the South Shore area as a music teacher and doing some computer science teaching. He's been involved in the band in the past, and right now I'm hearing from the kids that they enjoy his classes and that they're figuring stuff out as far as programming goes. They're figuring stuff out. So thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
And finally, Ms. Buck.
Hi, everybody.
Evening.
You know they love to save the best for last, so I am thrilled to be up here tonight to welcome our new special education coordinator for the middle and high school, Angela Muller-Crone. She comes with a wealth of experience. She has a master's in education with a focus in literacy, a couple bachelor's degrees in elementary, philosophy and religion, as well as a minor in psych. She's been teaching for over 10 years, as well as in special education administration for over 10 years. She is, fun fact, a Douglas alum as well, and she has hit the ground running, and her expertise has already been shining through, and we're just thrilled that she's here in Douglas with us. So welcome, Angela.
Welcome.
Any questions from the committee?
I'm just happy they're all there smiling. And that they, thank you for coming outside of school hours to come and introduce yourselves to us. That means a lot.
We appreciate it, because when we do see you in the school building, it's like we have a picture with a face. We may not remember the names, but we know we've met you. So thank you so much for coming in again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we hope you have a great school year.
Yes.
You're welcome to stay until 9:30. If I were you, I would leave at this
But we don't take
time
offense
injunction.
to it
No.
either.
But you're
We
more
would
than
go
welcome
to.
to stay.
Here we go too. Thank you so much.
All right. Next on the agenda is talk a little bit about an exploratory grade reconfiguration study that we're about to begin here. I want to talk a little bit about the why and then the process behind it. So one thing we're going to start this week is the process of looking at shifting our grades across the district. And it's really bookended between the primary school and the high school. So what I'm having the principals do with Ms. Buck and myself is to look at what would happen if we made the primary a true early childhood center, consisting of just pre-K and K. Okay? The why behind it is this. If you look at our early intervention numbers for our 3-year-olds, it's almost quadrupled in numbers of students who were tested over the past 4 years. In 2022, we had 5 kids eligible, 23, 8, 24, 13, and 25, 17. So almost quadrupled our numbers of students eligible. I'm sorry, who were tested. Students who were found eligible, you can see the progression. We went from 5, we dipped to 3, then we went to 7 and to 8. 3-year-olds is such a vulnerable age. And when you go inside those classrooms, and Jenna Racine and Katie Curran and everyone else in that program does such a nice job, we average between 7 and 9, 7 and 10 kids in that program. 10 3-year-olds.
Is a lot.
I can just leave it there. 10 3-year-olds is a lot, and especially kids with disabilities who are qualifying at that age need that extra care. We don't have the space at the primary for it. So by moving the first grade to the high school, it frees up 4 extra classrooms for the possibility to expand that 3-year-old program. If you look at just our waiting list for the 3-year-old program, in 22 we had 12 kids on the waiting list, in 23 8, in 24 8, in 25 5, and in 26 10. So even apart and aside from the early intervention, there's a need and a want from the community to have kids come to the primary for preschool. We just don't have the space. When you go to the 4-year-olds, we have 2 4-year-old classrooms, 14, 15 kids.
Right now, yes.
are a lot of kids with two bodies. The wait list there is, in '22 it was 2 students, in '23 it was 8, in '24 it was 7, in '25 it was 2, and in '26 just 1. So again, the need is there for, even without early intervention, to expanding to add in an extra 4-year-old program for it. The other thing is, we currently partner with an outside agency for before-school care. They can't take our 3-year-olds. By having the extra space, we could offer before-school care for families of 3-year-olds to be able to drop their kids off, not at 8:30 when school starts, but whatever time it is, 6:37, 7:30, so parents can get to work and not have to worry about having grandparents or neighbors or other people drop off their children. So there's that piece of it. We've said it here before, Cindy said it 1,000 times. Our kindergarten teachers can tell who went to our primary school for pre-K and who didn't. So we want to continue to try to set the kids off on a path to success. But there's going to be the need in the very near future to expand our preschool programs, and we just don't have the space. So that's the why for the primary school. To create that space, we would have to make the elementary a 1 to 4 building. And if you make the elementary a 1 to 4 building, you would have to make the middle school a 5 to 7 building. The other reason to do this is to bring the 8th graders up to the high school. There's clearly the space for it here in this building. The why behind it is vast. First off, we want to be able to increase educational opportunities for kids. Having the 8th grade here gives them that access to a lot of our programs. The other thing it does, and I'll share some numbers with you, is schools have seen that when they move the 8th grade to the high school, it helps retain kids in district. Uxbridge did this in 2019, and Rob was able to do a 6-year outlook. They were able to retain 34% extra kids from not going to BVT. They went from an average of 29 students applying to an average of 19. Gardner did this in 2016. They had a 75% retention rate. They went from 12 to 3. Greenfield did this in 2010. They had a 72% retention rate. They went from 32 to 9. So by keeping kids in district, you increase educational opportunities for kids. What do I mean by that? When you have more kids, we can see our band go from 7, 8, 9 kids to 15, 20 kids. You can see a chorus go from 8, 9 kids to 15, 20 kids. We joked today with Mr. Ringetta about, for instance, physics. It's tough when you only have 4 kids in a physics class and one's absent and 2 don't like to talk, to have a debate with 1 student in the class. So by increasing those class sizes, nothing crazy, but to increase those class sizes, to increase opportunities for kids is awesome. The ability to now be able to offer more JV teams, to have the 8th graders participate in sports, to expand our clubs is awesome. And then, as we all know, there's the monetary piece of it, right? We're spending $15,000 for every student who goes to BVT, $30,000 for every student who goes to Norfolk Aggie. I'd love to do a 75% retention rate, but even if we can keep 30% of our kids, or let's just call it 30 kids in district, 30 students times $15,000 is almost $500,000 that goes back into the town's operating and then ultimately the school's operating. What does that mean? It means additional teachers potentially. It means additional programs. It means money towards technology. It means financial resources towards things that we need to operate the school. So there's the monetary piece associated with it. So that's the why. The process that we're going to look at is, I've asked principals to start digging into and doing some research and spend about 6 weeks doing it. What I'd like to be able to do is sometime in November, come back to the committee and present our findings. And then we're going to go out to the community and meet with staff and meet with community members to get feedback for it. With the presentation, feedback might be, why is the 8th grade on the 2nd floor, not the 3rd floor? What's going to happen with music? What happens with transportation? What about athletics? We want feedback as we put this program in place from people who are in the trenches to make the transition seamless. We also want to give people time to ask questions. You know, whenever you transition, first grade would potentially go to the elementary school, they're going to have questions. What does that look like going from the primary to the elementary? What does it look to my day? Where's my classroom? What's my schedule look like? The fifth grade going to the middle school, what does that look like for teachers, for their day, for their curriculum, for what they do? And the same thing for the high school. That's for staff, but also for parents. You know, parents are used to saying, okay, my kid's going to be at the primary until they're in first grade. Well, now they're only there until K. They're going to be at the elementary school until fifth grade. Now it's until fourth. So we want to give parents the opportunity to ask questions and be able to show them how we're going to support students if we do this in the transition. I wanted to be upfront with the committee. I'm sending an email out tomorrow to staff and to the community as we begin this exploratory study. As soon as you start having the discussions with people in public, I wanted to be transparent that we're doing this. I didn't want to hide what we're doing, and I wanted people to know where we're going. We need about 2 months to do this analysis and this research before we can present anything. But again, as soon as you start talking to area schools, or how did you do this, or what worked, or Cindy asks a question of a K teacher, people are going to say what's happening, and I just wanted to be upfront and honest with people and let them know that we're starting this study over the next 2 months, and then we'll come back and present.
Any comments from the committee?
I'm interested to see, you threw out so many numbers today, and we don't have them. So, but I know that there's gonna be a lot of research and lots of time for public input, and I think that's the most important thing. I'm interested to see what the proposal is and how we can best support all of our students. I'm a preschool teacher at heart, and I know how important that is.
Through the chair.
Absolutely.
Echoing Ms. Bergstrom's words, preschool is so important, and I think being able to offer preschool at a more affordable rate is essential. If students don't attend a public school pre-K program, then they're usually, if they're going, are paying for private rates, which are usually a lot more money. So the idea of students coming in district, first of all, they're getting familiarized with it earlier on, so they are losing those jitters, you know, when they're a little bit more malleable. And, you know, there is a cost associated, of course, which is, you know, bottom line budget, not a bad thing. But for the parents at home, I know that I struggled finding childcare for my children and then pre-K programs. And I was waitlisted here in Douglas, so I went to a different district. And, which I didn't even know was a thing, but that's neither here nor there. Because you pay for it, so you can go anywhere. But the idea that you can stay in district is huge. And hearing that the teachers can tell a difference between a child that went to Douglas pre-K and that didn't, I mean, I think that's enough, in my opinion. And then keeping students at the other end here, I mean, that's a whole different ballgame.
Correct.
I mean, I would much rather build up Douglas than build up BVT. It's been built enough. So I think we need to focus in-house. This sounds really, really great. I look forward to seeing what you can present.
And I know change is scary for the staff, for the administration, for families, for kids. So we want to start this, we want to give people as much information as possible. We also want to seek input too as to how we can, if we decide to do this, how do we make that transition smooth for people? Because, you know, we've seen it through our experience in working together. I've seen it working with staff and with principals. People bring a different lens and throw some different things at you, and you can't think of everything. And, you know, I've been very open that, you know, I want input, I want feedback. You take some of it, you blend it with what you have, but we can't think of every angle when we do things. So when we do that presentation, the plan is probably to do something along the lines of, for instance, week 1, do the elementary and primary school in person and Zoom. Week 2, do the middle school and high school in person and Zoom. Week 3, go back and do the primary school and elementary school in person and Zoom, and then do the same thing at the middle and high school. So over a 4 or 5 week period, give each building, staff, and community members 2 opportunities. And again, if you want to attend the primary and the high school, feel free, but we'll cater the presentations to those buildings. But we want to make sure we give families and staff multiple opportunities to come, both in person and via Zoom for those people who can't get out. to offer that input, and then hopefully sometime in February come with a final presentation to the committee.
Yeah, I mean, we really do rely on public input. This is a really, for the principals, I know you're probably going to put it in your newsletter, it's probably going to be the superintendent, but we really do want to hear what the community wants, right? We need involvement from the community to make sure we're making the right decision, not just an adverse decision and then have to try to fix it afterwards. So, look forward to it. Please make sure you invite us to the public meetings.
Absolutely.
We'll probably show up. Some of us will show up.
Divide and conquer.
We'll divide and conquer, right? And that's what we do. But I think it's worth the opportunity to explore.
Correct.
So.
Great. Thank you. Next on the agenda is just an update of where we stand with the primary school and the elementary school. And we had a community member come and ask us about the bus policy in our transportation policy. One thing I've said all along through my time here, and I feel extremely supported by the committee, is if we're not doing something right and someone brings it to our attention, we need to explore it. So after our school committee meeting on 2 weeks ago, I talked to Mr. Haynes and Ms. Sosha, and we really need to do a deeper dive into what we're doing. The elementary school, their current policy is that fifth graders with a waiver can get off the bus without themselves. However, second, third, and fourth graders cannot get off the bus without a parent being present. Oddly enough, the primary school doesn't have a policy. So it's odd that there is one for the elementary school, there isn't one for the primary school. We do need a consistent policy because they're all on the same bus for the primary all the way through the elementary. So that's the first thing we're looking at. Second thing we're looking at is prior to Mr. Haynes' arrival, the policy was always in place. I have no other way to describe it other than there was a super secret form that allowed for parents who knew about the form to ask the principal to give them the form, and if the principal approved it, a fifth grader could get their second, third, or fourth grade sibling off the bus. It wasn't a written policy. It wasn't published publicly, right? But it was something that if people knew about it and knew to ask for it and filled it out, and the principal approved it, it was allowed. It's not a good practice to have a policy and have a secret form that allows you to circumvent the policy. You either have one or you don't. So then I had a conversation with both of our attorneys, our special education attorney who deals with child law, and then our school committee attorney, to talk a little bit about this whole process. First thing we talked about was waivers. And they said waivers are absolutely enforceable. The stronger a waiver is written, the more detailed a waiver is written, the less liability there is on a town, on a municipality, or on a school department. However, regardless of how good a waiver is written, there always is and will be an insurance claim filed. So even if we have the most pristine waiver out there, if something ever happens, even though a family filed it, there's still an insurance claim that's filed. So we would have to look at creating a solid waiver that we would have to vet through our legal department. The next piece to that is running that and having that conversation with the town. We're one department of the town. It's the town's insurance provider, and the school, police, fire, highway, library, senior center all fall under the insurance provider for the town. Before we open the school department up to liability and ultimately the town up to liability, we need to have that conversation with them. So right now I have Mr. Haynes and Ms. Sosha contacting other schools to see what they do. We're contacting, National Transportation Standards and bus standards. Although DESE doesn't have a law to say here's what you need to do, there are guidelines and recommendations around it. There's National Transportation recommendations. And as Mike Joyce said, if this ever gets litigated, what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, what do national standards call for? What do local districts call for? So we're doing the local work, but we're also doing the national work to see what happens. Anecdotally, Ms. St. Pierre, who went after I say the statement, you'll know where she leans. During the half-day, we had 12 kids sent back to the elementary school because the parents forgot that we had a half-day. So now imagine if we had a policy which allowed for kids to get off the bus, we'd have 12 second, third, fourth graders going home without any, eventually a parent would show up, but we just want to make sure that kids are safe, and that if we're creating or rewriting a policy, that kids are safe, that the district is safe, that the town is safe. We don't want anyone to get hurt. We don't want anyone to get injured. We don't want anyone to get lost. We don't want anyone to get kidnapped. And after the discussion that we had and the email from the community member and his presentation, and then diving into the principals, I didn't want to come here with a proposal 2 weeks later, uncovering this. We want to do it, we want to do it right, and we want to make sure that everyone is safe, and we do a thoughtful presentation. So I don't know if we'll have it ready for the 1st, but it'll be ready for the 16th to come back, which is 2 weeks from, which is a month from today, or not the next school committee meeting, but the one after that.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
I know it kind of circulated because there's something in the current policy that has to do with if someone's questioning a school bus stop, that an officer can go and make that call. Did our lawyers have anything to say about implementing that into this policy, where if a parent signs a waiver, we can also get a sign off from one of our officers on the safety of it?
So yes and no. I didn't ask that question specifically. That would go into, first off, the detail of the waiver. The second piece is, if we were going to explore that, we'd have to have a conversation with Chief Miglianico to see if he was comfortable doing that. There's one thing, and after we spoke, I needed time to process. There's one thing to say that a bus stop is safe, like it's safe for people to congregate there and meet there. It's another level to say it's safe for this child, or for any child, to walk from point A to point B unsupervised. I don't know if they would be comfortable making that recommendation. But once we start exploring that, that'll be a question we could ask the chief if that's where we go. We need him to do it, but that would be an added wrinkle to it.
And then additionally, let's say we move to think about a new policy, or it sounds like there may or may not be a policy, or there may or may not be a form. I don't really know where it stands. It sounds like there's confusion, but are we trying to say that, we're not trying to say that any child in the elementary school could get off and sign a waiver. It's that the 5th graders could potentially, because the 5th grade already has a waiver potential, right? Like they already, right? The fifth graders could, they just can't take a sibling.
Correct. So it would be an additional waiver that would allow a 5th grader to take a sibling off the bus.
And that's what we're discussing, right? We're not trying to say a 3rd grader can take the kindergartner with them. But we're open to interpretation.
What we're looking for is, what does Douglas do? What are area communities doing? What are national standards? What do we feel safe allowing for? And we're starting from scratch, because if we're gonna do the process, we're gonna do it right. So I'm asking Ken and Cindy to investigate everything.
Okay.
And where it lands, I don't know. I'm going to let them do their homework. And again, what Mike Joyce said is, you got to look, if every other community's doing it, it's a little trickier not to stand on the lake. If you don't have a community, if no other community is doing it, it makes it a little trickier. It also makes it tricky if you have a policy in place and you're lessening the standard, and then something happens to a kid, you've opened yourself up to a different type of liability, where you had a policy to keep kids safe and you weakened it. Why did you do that?
Okay, so one more time. Do we have a policy or not, or we're not sure?
So we have, the policy at the elementary school is that only 5th graders can get off the bus without a parent. Everyone else needs a parent to get them off the bus. That's the policy. Am I correct, Ken? That's the policy. Prior to Ken's arrival, there was a secret form,
Okay.
that no one knew about, that wasn't publicized, that allowed you to circumvent the process, but with principal approval.
So do we still do that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why I was shocked when the gentleman said, I know, I heard of. I went, I talked to Ken, like, Ken, I thought we weren't doing this. And he said, I'm not. This was something that, and then I talked to Jess from the bus company. It was something that was in place when Mr. DeFonso was here and when Mr. Bell was here. But again, it wasn't something that was advertised. It wasn't something we was put out. It was something that if people asked and they knew to ask and the principal approved it, it was allowed to happen.
Okay.
Since we're gonna do this at the primary and the elementary school, can we just look at the middle and high schools to make sure that we have consistent, I mean, I have a kid in high school now. I mean, they're high school, it's a little different, but can we
We
just
can-
make sure if we're looking at it in one area, we just look
Yeah,
at it
we can look at the
all
bus policy,
buildings?
K to 12, sure. I was so hyper-focused on primary.
No, I know, but I'm
Yeah, that
just-
makes sense. We
Especially if
we're
we're
running it,
re-
if we're doing it, we may as well look at everything. That makes sense, yep.
And I think it would be part of the, like, a policy go back, if we move the grades, right? Is that gonna change how we would implement the policy? So, just keep that in the back of your mind, because fifth grade would now be in the middle school.
Correct.
And currently, middle school can get the little ones off the bus.
So, I just, again, just something to think about, like a little note off on the side, because if we move the fifth grade, then that changes the policy, so.
It would potentially, correct. But I think for this year, we need to look at
Yep.
what the policy is for what we are, 25, 26 school year. And then if the grade reconfiguration happens, that would be something we would have to look at for 26, 27.
Anybody else? All right.
All right, thank you. All right, next, I'm going to have the principals, we're going to start with Ms. Sosha, do our SEL presentation. One of the things I asked each of the principals to do, and again, I've said this for 6 years now, if you're not healthy here and you're not healthy here, you can't learn. You can't teach, you can't work. So we want to make sure that we have a solid SEL plan in place. And I forget if I said it here, I said it somewhere else. A lot of times you hear people say you're adding stuff to the plate. SEL is the plate. Without SEL, without people being in a good headspace to learn, to come to work, it doesn't matter what else you have in place. So as long as I'm here, the focus will always be SEL. It is so critically important to our kids, and we see it time and time again. We're fortunate enough that we've been able to partner with Panorama to be able to do a pre-test and a post-test for some SEL data. We're doing those tests this week and next week. But I asked the principals to reflect upon last year and then come here and meet with you and just talk a little bit about what their plans are. Some of it's a little different, some of it's a lot of the same because it's worked. But just for people to see up front what we're doing for SEL, both short-term and then for the entire year. So to start with that progression so we don't jump around, we'll start with Ms. Sosha.
So I was reflecting on my teaching years. SEL didn't exist. That wasn't even in our vocabulary. But over the years, there's been, such a need for it. And that's what our focus is at the primary school, really, all day long. It's on SEL. We want kids to be able to say, I'm not feeling good, or I feel upset today, or I'm angry today, talk about their emotions. We want them to feel safe. We want teachers to make that relationship with them. This is why we do orientation the day before kindergartners come to school. This is why, first grade comes with their supplies the day before they come to school, because it releases some of that anxiety from them.
Can you, just
Yep.
as an aside, I know you're very strategic and purposeful as to where you do that K and where you do that 1 process. Can you just to see the thought that goes into it, can you just talk a little bit about that? I know you said it quickly, but why do you do it the day before, not the week before? Why do you do it the morning of?
Because it's immediate for the kids. If I do it the week before, which we had way in the past, it doesn't work. Even a whole weekend goes by and they're still anxious. I have more tears. I have more clinging on to the parents coming into the building. Now, they know what to expect. They've met the teacher. They know where their desk is. Their name is there. It is so smooth doing it that way. So it works. Kindergarten, not last year, maybe the year before, changed to what we're calling the soft start. So instead of the kids coming in and getting right to work, here's your paper on your desk, start your job in color and all of it, now they get to choose. You can choose this tub or that tub, you can build, you could draw, you can do anything that you choose to do for a matter of, while the teacher's doing attendance, lunch counts, things like that. Preschool does the same thing. So that has helped as well. It just gives the kids that time to relax, get used to what they're doing, and we keep with the routines too. The routines are crucial. You can't change it up on the little ones because they know if you're not doing tubs that morning, why aren't you? So I think, what we've done, we've tweaked along the way to make it work, and it seems to be working. But each year we have monthly themes, so this isn't anything new. They might change a little bit, and we're always referring back to those themes. So the counselors sit down and we all put together, I announce it in the morning in announcements, that we're working on friendship, or we're working on kindness and what that means. So the kids are well aware of what's going on and what the topic is, so what the theme is. So some of the things that we've been doing, the morning meetings, of course, are crucial. Every day, it is consistent through the whole building. They're all doing morning meeting, and built into morning meeting is an SEL. So it could be the kindness thing. It could be a greeting. So right now, a lot of them are working on greeting each other. In the morning, I'm saying good morning to every single one that walks by me, and headlights, nothing, Some of the first graders, they know, they better say good morning. So we're working on greeting and getting to know each other's names, and if you ask a kindergarten, who's your friend? I don't know his name, so we're getting there. So it's part of the morning meeting. Some of them do closing circles at the end of the day. We do read-alouds. They read stories that have the theme of friendship or kindness, and then they discuss that. We also have the ISSPs to focus on those particular kids if they have those needs. In Panorama, we've been looking at that now. They have a playbook with over 1,000 lessons. They're not all SEL. There are some math and some ELA, but there's something for everyone. There's things on bullying, there's things on sharing, so you can pull something up as the teacher, tell what level it is. There's videos, worksheets, it tells the teacher really what to do and how it would be used. And so that's a real nice resource that we haven't tapped into yet, but we will be. We still do lunch bunch. Teachers recommend in the class, these are the kids that may be on the playground that they're not playing. They're sitting or they're by themselves at lunch and no one's talking to them. Let's get them into a little small lunch group, and they have it with Mrs. Purvis, Mrs. Thompson, and then they start to get to know each other and talk, and it makes life easier. The children's literature, again, to reinforce concepts. We do social thinking with the zones of regulation. We have calming corners in almost every classroom. The teachers have made a little area, so if someone is not feeling, like they want to do their work right then and there, go sit in the calming corner. There might be a fidget in there for them to deal with. There could be books for them. They could be, drawing, whatever they need. We even have the weighted animals, the stuffed animals that they love, the red dog, so things like that. And again, Mrs. Purvis goes into the classrooms once a week. She is in every single room, and she has followed the theme and does a lesson with the children. The teacher is there so that the teacher can follow through. It's not like the teacher walks out of the room and they don't even know what they're talking about. Teacher's there, and then they follow up, and they reinforce that all the time. So kids can get a raffle ticket, just showing kindness or being a friend or whatever, and then it's a random raffle. At the end of the month, they pick out 2 raffle tickets to get a book out of the book machine. So that's another way that the theme is brought to them. As far as the environment, so again, we talked about the safe routines, we talked about a calming area, the sensory tools. We also build in a lot of breaks for the kids too, and movement breaks with music. They love that. I think somebody was dancing with some preschoolers just recently.
I have no clue. There might even be a picture.
There might be. And the supports, Tier 1, this SEL is not just for certain kids. This is for everyone. Everyone talks about kindness. Everyone's talking about, their zones. The Tier 2, of course, is your small group. That would be your lunch bunch. And Tier 3 would be, your counseling and a one-to-one situation. And then lastly, some of the things we're doing, I talked to you last time about our Feel Good Fridays for the staff, where we're sending staff members a text or an email and something positive, Last week I sent out two paras that were in the SEL classroom, and they struggle a little bit. It was a tough week, with some of the things going on. And I just said, your job's very stressful. I want you to know that, we know and we care about you. And if you need something, if you need a break from it, let us know, things like that. And they said, you made my day, just because you noticed. Mm-hmm. We're still doing Happy Mail. We're still mailing postcards home for students, just saying, I noticed you, you did great today, things like that. And the book machine. And that's it. Questions?
Absolutely. Do we still have the buddy benches?
Oh my God, I wrote that down.
We had one at the primary and the elementary school.
I don't know if they call it the buddy bench, but I know there's something out there
The ones that,
at recess.
the ones that Mrs. Urquhart had made, her and her husband. We had one at your school and one at the elementary school. They're still out there.
Is it
I'm
at the
not
elementary school?
I'm not so
We
sure.
haven't moved it out, like, it was inside all summer, but we're
Yeah.
moving it out, yeah.
Right. I'm not so sure if they talk about it that way, but
No, that's
it's something to bring up to them, so thank you. Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you so much.
all right.
Mr. Haynes, I didn't even have to, he's ready to go. All right, we're ready to go home.
Okay, thank you.
Love the buddy bench.
Buddy bench is so good.
They are.
Thank you. Thanks, Jacob. Hi. So at Douglas Elementary School, there we go, thank you. And the next one, please. So really our goal, and I'll just kind of sum it all up, right? Panorama is an amazing tool. There's so much to it. It's a lot, right? But I think one of the things is that's super important is that we get our teachers like comfortable and proficient using it. You know how it is, if it's familiar to you, if it's helpful to you, if it's familiar, you know how to use it, then it's helpful. And then the more comfortable you are, the more you're going to use it. It's just got tons and tons of information. And during the PD days, we had training. Mr. O'Brien and I, our recent staff meetings, we had the Panorama people come and do more training with our staff. As administrators, we were able to get trained on Panorama as well. And then for our upcoming PD day, we're going to do 2 more hours of Panorama. So we're putting a lot of time and energy into using Panorama. But I think it's fantastic, and I don't know how familiar you are with it, but just imagine like PowerSchool is just numbers, right? Panorama it's like the Wizard of Oz. Like I think you open the door opens and all of a sudden it's all color, and Panorama just sort of gives you that information. It just colorizes the kid and where they are, and you can look at it in the graphs and the information. It's just got a lot of information, and we've already started like looking into and learning how it can be a great resource for teachers just for teacher-parent conferences. You can get so much information and give that right to the families about where their child is. It's a great tool. So, So basically, in the goal here, utilize Panorama's data and resource to inform, teachers will use it to inform their instruction, strengthen both social emotional learning and our academic supports, and improve our school climate by integrating at least one targeted strategy, either SEL or academic, per month in their classroom practice. So, you've already heard about the resources and really the playbook, which is just loaded with resources, and having teachers just be more comfortable. And we have morning meeting every day, and it's got the resources. They're amazing. They're from SEL curriculum providers that you're familiar with, and they're from all different sources. And a teacher can really just pick something that they want to do and drop it into their morning meeting, and to have those kind of resources right at their fingertips is really, really helpful. That said, we also have our new school adjustment counselor who is going to be working with the staff in terms of helping them all become more familiar and using with using Panorama. So just sort of the goal, this first slide here, I just wanted to mention that is, that's really kind of the overarching goal of having the staff be comfortable using the tool and then in turn use it with the students, okay? Next, I want to just mention some of our action steps. Training, I'd already talked about that. Administrators have been trained. Staff has been and will continue to be trained. And then consistent instruction and use. We're going to, sorry, next slide. Thank you. Consistent instruction and use will integrate the Panorama survey areas, which include things such as classroom effort, growth mindset, and then the accompanying language into our daily morning meetings and monthly lessons. The students right now at the elementary school, or over the course of the last couple of days, have been taking that survey. We'll be done. The school will have it. We'll have the results of the survey by the end of this week, and then what we'll do is we'll sort of start sifting through those as grade level teams, school adjustment counselor, and just see what areas, based on the results of the survey, we might need to work on, address more immediately. So I was very encouraged by our survey results at the end of last year, and it'll be interesting to see how we start this year off with those same, that same survey, but then that will give us areas to target throughout the course of the year. And I will tell you that my goals as the principal of the building, which are going to, of course, be part of the school's goals, are around using these survey results and using them as a kind of a benchmark to work off of. And we'll have some measurable goals at the end of the year when we do the Panorama survey at the end of the year. So that will kind of serve as our map to work through the year. Let's see. And then in terms of action steps here, consistent Panorama data review, so teachers will regularly engage in using Panorama. And I use an example, pick a student, pick a strategy, where we have our CPT meetings and, okay, let's pull up Panorama, let's identify, let's look for a student, let's look at this student, let's see where there's a need. Okay, let's try to find a strategy to match that. And then again, just getting familiar, matching the needs of the kids with with all the resources that Panorama has to offer. Let's see, also school improvement goal, I had mentioned that. It will be part of our school improvement goal. And then continue also, in addition to Panorama, our continued character development. I know I've come up here and I've talked a lot about our Tiger traits, which we're going to use those as well. It's become part of our culture that I'm really proud of and pleased with, and we're going to really integrate those things that are in the survey, because a lot of the things in the Panorama survey, the kids may or may not be familiar with what they mean, right? Like grit, for example, something like that. And so an example of what are we going to do with that? Well, it's actually sometimes when kids might understand the concept, but they might not know what the word is. So having them be more familiar with these sort of strategies, these strengths, these feelings, and having words attached to them so they can kind of better understand, and then integrate those different traits with our Tiger traits, and just have it be sort of an overarching character curriculum, if you will, for our whole school. And with our Tiger traits, those are just things, again, if you're not familiar with the Tiger traits, it's basically our character traits. We have one that we focus on every month. We roll it out at our community meeting that we have. And then anytime a teacher sees a student demonstrating a Tiger trait, they have the opportunity to write that for the student. They give it to the student. Students run down to the office. They drop it in the box. And every day we draw our Tiger trait, winners for that day. And then what happens is, so they get to get a book from our book machine. And we also recognize our ROAR Students of the Month, who are every month teachers nominate students that are demonstrating those traits, and they get recognized at our community meetings. So, and again, you got to come sometime and see it. What's awesome is, like, a lot of times when kids don't win, in life we see kids when they don't win, they're not happy. It's amazing how happy these kids are when their classmates are being recognized like this, and it's really one of my favorite things to do every month at the school. So you're all invited to come see our awarding our ROAR Students of the Month. I think you'll enjoy that. So that's what's going on at DES. So any questions?
I want to definitely get that invitation. I would love to come.
Okay.
Because I've heard about it for years and years.
Yeah.
And the kids they love it. The Tiger traits are so good. I implore the older grades to even think about bringing it in, because I think since they're introduced by you there at that school, I think it would carry through, and I think they could use being reminded of all the traits as they get a little older, and we see some interesting older interactions with the kids. So love
Thank
it.
you. And I'm really appreciative because the staff, they take the time and make the effort to write the trait. And then when the kids come down and drop it in the box, it's like you see a kid comes to the office, he's got his blue tie, you know, this right here. Where's the box? Where's the box? It's very sweet. So, yeah. Anything else?
Nope, thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There's always friendly competition amongst the principals, so Mr. O'Brien's looking to elevate the presentation today.
I brought a prop.
I'm a fan of white.
He kept us under wraps until the last minute. Anyone else doing anything
Nice
creative
job,
or
Mr. O'Brien.
different?
Joining me tonight is Miss Kayla Avidian. She was my first hire as principal of DMS, and right off the bat, she made me look very intelligent for hiring her because she, with the staff, with the students, just hit it out of the park. Our first year working together, we had over 30 incidences of suicide ideation, self-harm. It almost seemed like once a week, one of us was going with a student to meet the family up at UMass Emergency Mental Health. That's trying to the family, to us. So this has been something that we've been working on for the past 4 years. And I'm thrilled that she was able to join us tonight. And
Can't say
work-
no to them.
You have.
That's true.
She's fresh. And working this year, we instituted the WIN block. We shortened our homeroom period. Our WIN block takes place right after all the lunches, and it's 25 minutes every day. Until we get the results back from our STAR testing, we will regroup the students to focus on their academic needs. This has been our morning circle. This is introducing those SEL skills, teaching the students the executive functioning skills, and really working on goal setting. The point this year is we want the students' input on their individualized student success plan. What do you want to work on? And get their involvement so they can see their growth. Jen Mercopoulos, our other guidance counselor, having that extra person to do more of the guidance area, allowing Ms. Avidian to focus on more of the mental health and social emotional needs of a student has been huge. And Jen has a young family. She couldn't make it tonight, but her knowledge growth, her knowledge base is just incredible. So it's really good to have a strong team now, whereas I think the first year we were struggling to stay afloat and just making sure the students were there the next morning, to put it bluntly. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Avidian that we worked on this together for our plan of working on this year with our SEL program.
Sure, so like, our other principals mentioned, we're utilizing the Panorama survey, which is really an excellent tool, I think, for the middle school students. So through that survey, we're giving it about 4 times a year to gauge, or 3 or 4 times, to gauge where they are at the beginning, middle, and end, and making those adjustments as needed. So one thing that I really like on my end from the Panorama survey is being able to see those students who are in the red and the yellow, who may need more intervention. It breaks it down by category to see where their skills and their strengths lie. So that really makes it easy for Jen and I, who, thank goodness for her, because she is excellent, to identify those needs. So we're using the survey. We're going to be taking that either, I think, next week. Yeah.
Next week.
Next week. So we'll be doing that. So those patterns will help us, like I said, identify the needs. The dashboard is easily color-coded for teachers to read as well, so it makes it universal for everyone. They might not go into all the categories, but they can see the at-risk students, which makes it great.
So those students identified in the red and the yellow, Jen and I are going to be running a small group block during WIN, and we'll be focusing on some of those deficits. And, you know, as you can imagine, with middle school students, it's executive functioning, it's peer interactions. It's such a fragile and vulnerable stage that, you know, definitely having another counselor to kind of encompass and teach those skills directly will definitely, you know, hopefully result in the lack of Tier 3 interventions.
For the rest of the students, or the students that don't need that as much specific, our SEL direct specific instruction on these SEL skills are taught during that once per 7-day cycle in their related arts classes. And it's a lot of times we use those related arts teachers to build that one-to-one teacher-to-student connection, especially for the students who say it's a very small percentile, but it's very important. Those students who say, I don't know, I don't have an adult that I can go to. So it's just a simple thing as just make sure you make it a point to say hi, seek them out throughout the day. They see all 3 grades, so they can work with them.
And we want to play on their strengths too. You know, they're experts in, you know, music and health and physical education and STEM and things like that. So making the lessons in their wheelhouse, but also involving the SEL components and team building and things like that, we'll have more buy-in from the students and from the staff. So Jen and I have created, or will be creating based off of those scores, individual lessons that the related arts teachers can implement. We will be following a data tracking sheet, because where are we without data? So we will be seeing who needs more help. Are there check-ins, further check-ins needed with these students? You know, and then Jen and I will be, for the students in the red and the yellow, be targeting individual student success plans. So we will be the ones writing those, following up, making sure that if we need to go to the student support team or teachers are having meetings, that Jen and I are the forefront of that.
And this is all evidence research based. This is very scientifically done for the students. It's not taught as a on a whim, but then it's nice to see the classroom teachers incorporate this into their general education subject area. So if they see something, a character in a short story providing one of these skills, they will point that out as well to them. And it's just become words like growth mindset. It's just part of our vocabulary, and resiliency and grit. Everyone's using these words, where I think a half dozen years ago, growth mindset, people, what's that? And now everybody's, I know Carol Dweck, yep, she wrote growth mindset. It just becomes part of the language and culture.
Another, I think, huge component of this is the MIFA pathways and MyCap, which is already being done at the high school. So Jen has been fabulous at bringing these ideas and her expertise to the middle school on this, right? I'm focused on the mental health, delivering those individual services, but Jen will be doing more of the push-in lessons in the classroom based off of the MIFA and MyCap standards, and building those portfolios, so when the students go to high school, there's already some sort of foundation there for them. I don't even know what she's talking about half the time with this, but she knows her stuff, she's on it, she's ready to deliver those lessons, and she really does take a lot of pride in that, so she's been super awesome with that.
And our goals are to provide the tier SEL supports to all students, have access to social emotional opportunities. As Kayla mentioned, ensure that those students that need that direct interaction with guidance, they have that. And again, our whole idea is to reduce the tier 2 and tier 3 in looking at a student and saying, how do we ensure 3 years from now that student is not an out-of-district student. So really looking at them right from the start of 6th grade. I was very lucky last year to run a boys group with our 6th graders, about a half dozen 6th grade boys, and just teach them things like, have you ever won an argument with a teacher? Okay. I used to coach basketball. I got my fair share of technical fouls. You're not going to win. So how can we get to where we want to go, and what's the right responses, and how can you come back to, and have the students look at it through the teacher's eyes. There's 27 kids in the class. She's going to talk to you one-to-one afterwards, and she can't give you that attention right now. And just reinforce that message that I think all of us as parents try to teach our kids. And as you can see, we're very committed to this. It's just the right thing to do. We were doing SEL before SEL was cool.
And thankfully, I think we have a great staff. You know, I know for me personally, I can go to any staff member in the building, and we might not always agree on a situation, but I think we're able to come to a resolution. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's about the kids. So I think that is always, you know, important in the forefront of the middle school for sure.
And it's been a long time since we had to take a ride up to.
Don't
put it out
even
there.
go there.
So I did not. So I think our efforts are paying off. I appreciate all of Mrs. Vidian, Mrs. Markopoulos, and the entire staff for their help in really seeing the importance of the SEL component, especially in middle school. When Ms. Socia was talking about her primary school students, it's almost like they're back at primary school when they get to middle school, right around 7th grade. You see that big change of them questioning who they are, or who their friends are, and who their family is. It's the second biggest growth in their brain from age 3, is during middle school. And thank you so much. Any questions?
I love that we're doing this for our middle schoolers. I mean, I know it's for everybody, but just like you just said, that growth that they go through, the hormones and everything else.
On some days, some clear days, you can see the hormones floating like the highway. You can picture them.
You make a difference. You all make a difference, but just, this is the vulnerable age group that it's tough.
We
Love my job.
appreciate your support, central office and the financing, and their dedication to it. It's just the right thing to do, and now we're doing it scientifically.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys.
Kayla watches religiously from home. Sorry, I wasn't supposed to say. She watches religiously from home every other Wednesday. Mr. Ringette.
Hello again. So to follow that is impossible. Thank you, Bob. And but also it's kind of what we do. It builds from primary to elementary to the middle. And I'll be honest, I thank everything under the sun to say that I am not a middle school principal having to work with middle schoolers. So Bob, you might be a saint in that one. And because of all the hard work that they do, the high school looks a little different, right? We're working on trying to get them from that adolescent stage into young adulthood. That's really our primary goal here. In doing that, last year, with some various things that happened with Panorama, which have been resolved, which we are very grateful for, that we were able to find that, through Panorama, through some other data systems as well, that kind of supported our findings. We still have work to do in growth mindset. We still have work to do in students believing they can actually finish their tasks and things like that. So we have some identified factors as of right now that we are looking at. Again, we have our surveys coming up in another week or so, and we will see kind of where that still lies. And do we have to make adjustments in that aspect? Kind of given what we know. Oh, I pressed the wrong button, Jacob. Oh, it's funny, they think I'm the technical one at the high school. Yep. All right, so as you can see, there's kind of a schedule that goes along the SEL pillars through our MyCap process with our students. You'll notice there's a lot of 9, there's a lot of 10 in there, 11 floats in there for a few things, and then 12 kind of barely fits into some of that stuff. And that's because, again, as the transition goes from adolescence to young adulthood, we want to start to let go of that rein just a little bit and say, okay, we've brought you here, we've guided you up to here, now use what we've been able to provide for you. On top of that, our grade 12 group is primarily focused on financial literacy and financial skills through...
They need to be.
Yes, exactly, which is why they are strictly under that responsible decision-making piece, because that's what they're doing throughout their whole process. So we do have very specific spots where we target these things. When it comes to kind of our 2 goals of growth mindset and self-efficacy, I'll press the correct button. All right. The MyCap sessions, as they're running like the first Tuesday or Thursday of every term, so we catch them earlier. Instead of last year, we did it closer to the end of the terms where we caught them later, and it wasn't ideal. So again, we see an issue, we pause and make a correction, we adjust. So in order to target growth mindset is actually fully enveloped into the MyCap process, so it's not something that necessarily has to be addressed and pushed down, and because as Bob was saying before, before SEL was cool, I'll never forget my first SEL training in growth mindset, and I'm going to be honest, it was an interesting experience where I had to have a Hershey Kiss in front of me and think about eating that Hershey Kiss versus eating it. And I thought to myself, what does this have to do with social emotional learning? What, this is more of, and they were going through a growth mindset a training there, and I said, this is not quite growth mindset, and and this was 15 years ago-ish. So it was an interesting experience, and I vowed never to do that to any one of the students that I ever encountered, because that experiment, although I understand it's, what they were trying to do, it was never going to hit home with students. And so what do we do that's better? Well, I'm going to be honest, I trust the 6 members of the MyCap team implicitly, because they've really taken the reins on this and just said, no, this is what we're doing. And they incorporate these things throughout their process. And they target very specific areas throughout their sessions. For self-efficacy, that's a little different. That one, I've already started working with staff members through professional development, and it's going to continue to become a regular topic through professional development, because in my opinion, if I know that our teachers do it, but it's a good reminder every time for our teachers to continuously encourage our students that through effort, they will reach their goals. They will be able to show that they are successful. And so for that one, I don't put that one on our Super 6. I put that on, that's on everyone. That one is fully, truly on everyone, because when every kid leaves here, I want them to know that, yeah, they can do it. It just requires effort and what levels of effort. So.
Any questions?
Just a comment.
By all means.
I will be really interested to see, because I know like MyCap and Panorama and all that stuff we've just started doing. But as a parent of a recent graduate and what I'm seeing from recent graduates out there, this self-efficacy is so important, and the lack of executive functioning skills that our students, not just Douglas Public School students, but all students, are leaving with, and the amount of kids that drop out of college because they can't continue to do that. So I would love to see your data, your panorama data from the last year, like what you did last year and this year, just to get an idea of like what can we do differently, because you don't want to set these kids up to go out into the real world and not be able to be employable and not be able to go to college.
Exactly.
Everything we did was for nothing.
Right. No, you're exactly right. So, by all means, the spreadsheets are open.
Well, thank you so much for you all staying so late on this wonderful fall evening to come and talk to us about the social emotional, because that is so important. And we trust you all that you know how to help our students navigate to the best at their grade level. So thank you so much. Thank you to your staff. We truly do appreciate it.
All right, next on the agenda, I'm really excited to have Dom Sergio come up and present. Dom's our tech director, and I think throughout the year, I always highlighted little things that the tech department did. And this summer, we were meeting, and we kind of went through the list of what the tech department worked on last year. And it really wasn't a list, it was a short novel. It's amazing what Dom, in conjunction with Jake and with Scott Villamere, have been able to do in a year. And it doesn't matter, Douglas, Lexington, Wayland, Uxbridge, Northbridge, Southbridge, what they've been able to accomplish, it is truly a minor miracle. So I want Dom to come up, and I know he did this with his entire staff, and he's just gonna go through everything that we did last year as a district, and then highlight at the end Power School and our new website. So, Dawn, with that introduction, hopefully you do know how to use the
I would
remote.
hope so.
Okay.
I'm glad to see everybody's using Panorama, because that's one of the ones I left off.
Oh, you
but
did?
That was another one.
Okay.
I'll try to keep it short. Originally, when we were doing this, I think I had like 57 slides. And then Mr. Vieira told me to cut it down to 7 to 10, so try to keep it.
But he's gonna talk the equivalent of 57
It was a busy
slides.
year.
We know how.
It was a busy year. So I'll start with the first and foremost, the obvious, the biggest one that impacted the district the most was the student information system transition. We went from iPass to Power School. A lot of work, a massive undertaking. When I got hired, it was in the middle of that transition, so it was kind of deciphering what was done, what still had to be done. And then as we went through, we found out stuff that was done had to be redone. And, but I am happy to say that we were successful with the rollout. We were ready day one for teachers. For the month of September, I think it was every Tuesday, we offered Q&A sessions to staff if they had any particular questions or anything, any issues. We set up a parent portal, portal email account for parents as well to support them.
Was
And
that
then we had a
busy?
staff Power School. What was it?
Was that busy?
Still very busy. But it was just another way, another avenue for support for parents, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But we also had one for staff, separate from generic tech issues that go on the daily basis, but just for Power School. And then we also provided PD Plus Academy. That's part of Power School's training module. And with that, it just contains videos that teachers can log in and do on their own, on-demand, self-paced. Gives them kind of a quick breakdown of attendance, grading, things of that nature. So that was a good one. And part of that, we also went from, with the special education, we went from eSped to special programs. So last summer, we kind of did both transitions at the same time, which was a very big undertaking. Most schools would only do one at a time. We were fortunate to be able to do multiple things. We did a lot of integration. It integrates seamlessly with PowerSchool, so teachers have access to IEP students in their class and information that they need to see. Provided training to the special ed staff. Food services, we also switched our, we had an on-prem server of NutriKids that was standalone and didn't talk to anything else in the district and was very outdated and old. We were lucky enough to switch to a cloud-based product from Heartland called Mosaic. So now everything is on the cloud, everything's brand new. We were also able to replace all of the POS terminals in the district with brand new hardware. So I know the food service director is very happy about that. Definitely made things easier on their end as well, streamlined a lot of the stuff that they do and modernized it. Absence management system. We were previously doing everything paper-based. You know, the business office was tracking everything manually in a spreadsheet, and it was very overwhelming for them. So we implemented a system called SmartFind Express. We rolled it out on July 1 of this year, but we provided training to staff in the May and June faculty meetings. And then we also hosted a sub training day this summer to get all the subs up to date, because it also, subs have their own app as well. It's a good system overall. It's very easy. The buy-in from the staff was that you could download the app, you could see your reason balances right on your phone, and you can put in requested time off right on your phone with a few clicks. Same thing with subs. They can search for jobs on the app, or they can get push notifications when something comes up. The system also automatically calls them. We're still working on the automated monthly accruals. That's been a challenge with it, but we do think we'll have a fix for that in October. So that way, everybody accrues at different amounts based on a bunch of different factors. So it's been tough to get that all working, but we should have it ready by October. We also did the camera system upgrade across the district. That was another big one. We worked with the town on that. We got all the cameras replaced, all of the cabling redone. The servers were upgraded. The software was upgraded. We even got a couple of new features that we didn't have previously. One of them being the ability to zoom in on cars to get license plates. And I know we had a few cases where we've already used it, so that was a good one. The phone system, we didn't switch physical phones, we switched vendors that provide the service for the phones. A lot went into that decision, a lot of collaboration with the town, because the town had more issues than we did, but we also had issues with E911 compliance, and some of the paging systems couldn't work with it, and the vendor was not very responsive, and there was a lot of challenges there, so we worked with the town. We moved to Zoom, and we did that over the summer as well. July 1, we went live. I was very happy. We had no downtime during the cutover. And now we're E911 compliant, and the town is happy, and everybody's happy. The paging systems are working. It's been well so far, well received so far. Cybersecurity is another topic we've done some things on. Last summer, we also upgraded our firewall to a next-gen firewall. The previous one we had, we didn't have any licensing and support on it. We were able to get an upgraded model and 2 years of licensing and support included. So basically, we bundled it, and we were able to save money. Another thing I'm excited about is I applied for a cybersecurity awareness grant last year, and then in May, I got notified that we got accepted.
Nice.
And basically what it is it's from the Executive Office of Technology Services and Security, the Office of Municipal and School Technology. So it's state-funded programs. They partner with a security vendor called KnowBe4. And what it is it's going to provide staff with cybersecurity awareness training. It's an hour total. that we have for the year, but it's broken down into like 2 to 6 minute videos. So I've been working with the principals to find time. I believe we got some time in October PD that we're going to give them to take the training and find different times that they can complete that. The nice thing is we can track it all on our end. And the additional piece that I'm really excited about is the phishing campaigns. So it also, monthly, it's going to send out random phishing attempts to staff to see who clicks on things, who sends things, things of that nature. And we get all that stuff reported on so we can kind of see. And I think it'll be really beneficial because it's not just at Douglas or just at work. It's at home too. Everybody has online banking. Everybody does online shopping. So it's a lot. I think it's going to be a valuable thing. So I'm excited that we were able to get that and put it in place this year. If I'm going too fast, stop me. If you have any questions, you can stop me. Another thing I was happy about, very proud about last year was that we were able to partner with Quincy Community College to hire tech interns.
Nice.
Super helpful because the tech team in general is just 3 of us and we are always swamped and there's always little things that we can't get to and we try to as fast as we can. But having that, developing that relationship with the college was definitely a big help. We're planning to do it again this year. Actually, I still talk to the intern that we hired last year and he actually got a job from this, used this on his resume, was able to get a job.
Awesome.
So we're still in communication with him. And we actually we're working on having the students from the Stars and Stripes program at the high school. They're also going to be working with the tech team on how to replace screens and Chromebook repairs and all that. So we're excited that they get to learn, but we also get some help too. So it benefits everyone, and it's cool. Cool thing. The exciting stuff.
It's all been exciting.
We launched the new district website. We also have a mobile app now that's on the Apple iOS store and the Google Play Store. We spent the whole spring and summer updating it. I met with different departments, different groups of people to train them, show them how to get everything updated. Really excited. So please feel free to go look at it and poke around. The goal for me was to look at it from a parent perspective and make sure that everything is easy to find, everything is simple. I don't know if you saw our previous website, but it was not that way.
No.
So this is much more streamlined. All of the school web pages are all the same navigation layout as the main page, so it's very easy for parents to find anything. Part of it is the live feed, which I tell people to think of it as like a Facebook timeline. And with that being said, we created all social media channels for all the schools in the district and tied them to the website. So now anybody can post to the website and social media with one click. It goes everywhere. So we have Instagram accounts, we have Facebook accounts in the website. And part of the website platform is a communication tool. So we've been using that. We got it all updated with everybody's information, so that can be used for anything from reminder tomorrow's picture day to today's canceled because of snow. All of that stuff can be communicated, text, call, email, and posted to the website and the social media channels, all with one click. So it's really just another way to make sure we're reaching everybody in the community. It has a news section, an events section. All of that stuff is updated regularly, and we have ongoing continuous support and training with it as well for anybody that needs it. Another app we have is the PowerSchool mobile app. This is really good for parents, but I also know a lot of students use it as well. Because they can find their schedule on it. They can see grades when we make grades available. It has it's just another way to increase family engagement. And then one of the other things that we currently just rolled out this year was online forms. So we consolidated our 50-plus page first aid packets for each school.
Goodness.
We consolidated down to 8 district-wide forms.
Yay.
One kid left.
One kid left now.
Yeah. So that was a major undertaking by itself.
Right.
It was great to do.
We've gone digital.
Yes. And we got I think we've increased our response rate that way too.
Yep.
I know, like the primary school was sending paper copies home and parents were like crossing things out and writing things over it. Not only do they fill them out now conveniently online, it also inputs it directly into PowerSchool, so it eliminates all of that manual data entry for secretaries. And they have the ability to track it all. They still have the ability to approve it all. And you can see the forms on the app as well. The other piece of that is we have online registration now for new students that come into Douglas. The parents can go right on to there's a separate portal that we pushed out the link to last week or the week before, and they can register new students on that. The secretaries of that building get notified, and then they still have to come in to finalize everything, but it gets that all put into PowerSchool as well. And then the secretaries can just assign them a schedule, and they're in the system already. So that was another big one. Talking about some of the things that's next is the form. So we did the first day packets, which still is a little bit of a work in progress. I've gotten some good feedback from parents already, but we're also looking to do more forms than just the first day packets. So we're going to be looking at permission slips, athletic forms, anything, AP research things, all kinds of different forms that we'll be looking to add to that as well. We've been piloting the interactive displays in the classrooms as a new modernized way to replace the projectors. We got 3 installed over the summer, 1 at each school, 1 at the primary, elementary, and high school. And the teachers love them already. They're a big improvement, so we're looking to continue that, continue trialing them, and continue trying to purchase more of those. And as far as the staff devices, and we've had some talks about getting them upgraded and on a cycle the same way as the student ones are. We've been looking at Chromebook Plus models, which would definitely save us on cost as well. And the other thing I wanted to mention was we were talking about setting up a parent night for probably during parent-teacher conference, still figuring out the details with the principals, but just offering another way for parents to come in if they need help with the PowerSchool mobile app or if they need help with the district mobile app, any kind of assistance they need, that because sometimes there's a lot of back and forth in the emails, so it's just another way to get parents, since they're already going to be here anyway, they have the option to have some tech assistance that night as well if they need it. So I like that idea as well. So I know I went through that kind of fast, but if you have any questions, well, anything.
I just want to say thank you.
We all got things to say.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
It's amazing how much, I'm like blown away how much you guys did in a year. It's so much work, and please know how much not just this committee appreciates you, but the parents are like thrilled about the forms. And you know, and my takeaway from your presentation, to me, it's about forms because I'm a parent of 3 kids and I've been filling out forms for years, it feels like, but there was so much safety component that you mentioned that so many people in our community might not recognize, and thank you for that. Thank you for keeping our children safe, their data safe. Like, this is huge, and just thank you so much.
Yeah, and I definitely want to thank Scott and Jacob, because without them, I couldn't have done any of this. They have been a huge part of this. And thank you to Mr. Vieira, formerly Ms. Keegan, and Ms. Landry for their support and trusting me to be able to take all this on and make sure we stay afloat with it all.
And again, we all work, and we all have done migrations from one system to another, and most people do like 1, maybe 2 a year. I think I lost track at like 9. Like, there's so much work. And then like with Dom, it was just like, hey Dom, I'm thinking, I'm 1 step ahead of you, I already started. I'm like I was thinking next year. He goes, nope, we're gonna deal with it this year. And you just look at the stuff that he's done, and his team had did all last year, and it's just truly remarkable. And the great thing about it was really with little headaches. Well, let me rephrase that. The transition was almost seamless for the ball. I mean, we have some Smart Find Express things, but, you know, when we migrated over the phones, it was seamless. The cameras, we had people in here, that worked great. The Power School, when you transition an SIS system, I know you've probably done it before in your career, it is such a massive headache. And when teachers and kids came back in September, it was done. And that was a transition because we had John started and Dom pick it up halfway through. So it is just truly unbelievable, the work that he did without really any major hiccups, other than your minor stuff that when you do stuff. So it's a huge compliment and gratitude to Dom, to Jake, and to Scott for the work.
It's funny, whenever I mention it to the other tech directors, the local or in the state, they just look at us in amazement. They're like, how did you do all of that in 1 year? It's a credit to the team. They did a lot, so.
And it's not just the tech, like the grant and the fact that you had an intern here, like, it's just, I feel like you've thought of everything. Like, it's just amazing.
Thank you.
No, I was just going to say I logged in today and I was so happy to fill out all my forms online, and there was a little mistake. I emailed somebody, I think Lauren St. Pierre, and she took care of it for me, and it was just such a breath of fresh air. And I as somebody who I worked on an IT team at a school for 4 years, like, I just applaud you, because that is a lot, and I've done these things and they are no small undertaking. So for you to be able to like sync all of these together in 1 year and have them play nice, like, that's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I echo everything everybody said. The forms thing was excellent. In fact, I forgot about forms until this morning. Well, yesterday when my husband texted me, he's like, hey, did you do that Chromebook thing? And I was like, yeah, I'm on it. No, he doesn't respond to me when I text him. Okay, so like that's how powerful these text messages are, or these notifications. And then I realized I had forms to fill out and so much to do. And it was seamless. I was so impressed that the emergency contacts were up, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, it's magic. But it isn't magic, right? Like, it's hard work that you guys did. So, so appreciated. Also along that appreciation, like, yay, we're showering you with accolades that are deserved. The website's beautiful.
Thank you.
And I struggled with the old website so many times. When I was like, well, I'm going to check out school committee, I'm like, where's the school committee? And it was really, really hard to find anything. And I just pulled it up. I had pulled it up before, but I just looked at it, and it looks legit. Like, Douglas is on the map now. And when someone's going to look at the district, or they're thinking about coming in district, they're going to check out the schools. They're not going to drive here and look at the schools. No, they're going to go on the website. The website of last year, I'd be like, oh, but the website of this year is like
Polished.
so polished. Like, you go to a college campus polished. I'm like, wow, there is stuff happening. It is up to date. The live feed, you're like, this isn't from 2 years ago. This is exciting. This is up to date stuff. And having looked at a zillion websites, we all have, right? Hello, millennials. But we grew up with the internet, right? Like, so we're able to feel like, versus these old ones. And it's getting late, so I get punchy.
Just call me old?
No, I pointed at Paul. No, I pointed at Paul.
The season.
So, the website's beautiful.
And a credit to the SRO, Brett Falone, for the aerial pictures, the drone pictures of the school. He was
Those are sharp.
He's the ones who gave us those with the 4K drone.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Yeah.
And we have an app.
Yeah.
I don't know any other local school district that has an app. I mean, granted, I'm not cruising their apps, but it's pretty remarkable. So thank you.
Welcome to 2025, Douglas.
Yes, it's exciting, really exciting stuff. And you've got more on the horizon, which is even cooler.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
thank you for bringing Douglas to the digital transformation. I mean, I think that is really what a lot of us as parents have been asking for. But also being mindful of cybersecurity, the IT infrastructure, and what all we need to do to be protective, because there are threats. People like to come and do to school districts and hold hostage, and then you have to pay a ransom, right? We have try to the best of our abilities, circumvent that from happening, but before we were not prepared. I feel that we are on the trajectory of being better prepared. You have brought with your team a wealth of knowledge that you've provided to us and given us a map of, hey, this is what I think we should be doing, and these are the focus areas. And you've done a phenomenal job, as with your team too as well. I know there's not one person, it's everybody, but just the amount, and I think the community needs to see just the amount. You don't do this with 3 people. So kudos to you and your team for the hard work, because it's not been easy. I know it's not been easy. It's been challenging. So thank you again.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Keep up the good work.
All right, and the last thing, and again, just a lot of good stuff going on, right? And just proud of the work that we do. Okay, and finally, to finalize superintendent's 24-25 evaluation, just for people who might have been watching and forgot, we did a portion of my review in April, but the last part of one of my goals was the STAR end-of-the-year data, which the testing wasn't done until May or June. So we were going to do it at the June retreat, but we ran out of time for the, July retreat. So here we are finishing up the last part of my evaluation, and I'll turn it over to the chair.
So thank you so much. So our professional practice goal was, I have to go back, was the district improvement goal was the 5 new strategies for communicating with families to meet the unique needs of our family and their needs. When looking at all the data that we had, all of the information and input, the committee members all came to an agreement that you met that proficiently. And then the student learning goal was using the STAR data that we got in the June 1st or 6th meeting that we had to show the ELA and math. We were able to ascertain that, review and reflect, and you met that standard. So this will close out your entire evaluation. I have signed it. I will pass it over to you to sign it, and then we can post it on the website.
Perfect.
But
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so much
Thank
for
you.
your hard work.
All right, and that brings my portion, or at least my portion of this portion of the meeting to an end.
So I just want to echo, thank you all to you all staying, working so hard, your staff, your administrators, the custodial, the paraprofessionals, the admin. We could not have the results that we have without all of you. And like I said, kudos, go back and give them high fives. If you can figure out a way for us to do like high fives to folks, we'd be more than happy, I do believe, to come in and do those high fives with your staff and stuff like that, because we do want to celebrate everybody, right? And so some little brainstorming of how we can do that. We don't need them to come in here, but I have every other Friday off, so I can make myself available to come, yep. So, yeah, so, I mean, and anybody else would like to join me, but I think that it's important that we do celebrate because there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on, and we are moving the district forward. So. All right, moving over to the school committee and subcommittee accounts payable report.
All right, that's me. All right, good evening. Warrant date 9/4 and 9/5. Warrant numbers 90SCH26 and 09SCHL26. There were 10 batches in total. Warrants were signed by myself, Rebecca DeMarco, a grand total of $191,718.87 with no irregularities.
Awesome. Moving on to the consent agenda and the review of the September 3rd, 2025 meeting minutes. If nobody has any issue, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn. I mean, not a motion to approve.
Wow.
Not yet.
Motion to approve, Becky DeMarco.
Motion made by Becky, seconded by? Second by Beth. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Awesome. Next is the Douglas Middle School Out-of-State Cross-Country Invitational Contest.
That's 6 times fast.
I know.
Thank you. Post-COVID, every year we have gone cross-country team to this event in Rhode Island. It's a wonderful event. A lot of schools from across southern New England go. I'm just seeking school committee approval to send our cross-country team to the Ocean State Cross Country Invitational.
And they do a marvelous job, and they place really well, and I know it's grown substantially, so I'd be looking for a motion.
Motion to approve. Becky DeMarco.
Motion made by Becky, seconded by? Meg. Megan? Meg? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Wish them good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck to the team. Sounds like a great opportunity.
It is fun.
It is.
Those meets are fun.
Next is the Douglas Elementary School after-school enrichment fee.
Yes. Myself, along with Mr. Hayes at the elementary school, in reviewing the enrichment fee, we are recommending that the fee be moved from $35 to $50. Largest reason is the balance right now in the revolving account is $948 after the past year that happened. A little bit of history. In 2022, the fee was reduced down to $25 because there was a large fund balance. There was found after the fact that there was an error of stipends going against the general fund as opposed to going into the revolving account, which is what kind of caused that overage. Last year, it was recommended that the fee return. It was voted on that the fee return to $35 per student. Just to give you an idea, that breaks out to about $6.25 a class for these students. So we are recommending, in order to bring the balance back up to a more manageable, workable balance without any constraints, we're recommending that the fee this year be increased to $50 per class, per student.
Any discussion?
I typically, through the chair.
Yep.
I typically, just gets on me to have to increase any fees. However, this is still a huge steal, and we need to make sure that we keep this program. So I personally think it's what we have to do, even though I hate saying I want to charge families more money, but I think it's what we have to do.
So just some historical too, we actually voted last year to move it up by the $10, but we had a big discussion about it with Courtney at the time, and even to move it up to $10, we were, hesitant, but Courtney warned us last year that this was coming.
Yep.
Just so in case you guys at the end didn't know,
Yeah.
we already had seen this, and we don't like to increase fees, I don't think any of us, but we had a heads up, if you will.
Yeah. So it's difficult decreasing fees. When you looked at that, it's hard to decrease knowing that costs keep going up. Costs keep going up.
And when it says per class, it's really in 8 weeks, so it's not $50 like a day per se.
It's $50 for the 8 weeks.
For the 8
$50
weeks.
for 8 weeks. Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
It's still a steal, but we were trying to keep it, like I said, we're very sensitive to the social economics, right? And being mindful of that, right? And still trying not to have the kids running amok, if that's a word, right? But to keep them here in the school as much as possible. And these are great opportunities for the kids, and they do enjoy them. So, it's just fiscal responsibility of us having to adult, right? And this is not taken lightheartedly, but if we don't do it, we're going to run into a deficit. So, that's the reality.
Are you looking for a motion?
Yes, I'd be looking for a motion.
Motion to approve, Becky DeMarco.
Motion made by Becky, seconded by? Beth. Seconded by Beth. All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now moving over to the business and operations report.
I just have one report. I am looking for approval on a transfer, and what this transfer would do is just help the high school put monies for a stair stair chair lift. Per the recommendation of the fire department, they were able to find a great chair that they'll be willing to help come in and train on. So we're just looking to transfer some money from the principal funds and some other general operating accounts under the principal into office supplies so they can purchase the chair.
Any questions? Be looking for a motion.
I move to approve the fiscal year 2026 budgetary transfer request number 3 for September 17th, 2025.
Motion made by Julia, seconded by?
Meg.
Which one?
It was Meg. It was Meg. Choose first.
Seconded by Meg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you so much, and thank you to the fire chief for bringing this to our attention, so. Any other topics not anticipated? Now I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved!
Motion made by Julia, seconded by? Becky. Seconded by Becky. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.